Interesting piece by William Boardman, originally published over at Reader-Supported News. It's been reprinted over at Alternate. The headline, why is the New York Times basically doing a blackout on Bernie Sanders? The subhead, the New York Times Sanders coverage is intellectually dishonest. This is essentially the same thing I was wondering this morning watching MSNBC and hearing that Hillary's not doing all that well against some of her Republican rivals when the Quinnipiac University poll, the third paragraph, the third sentence of it says, in several matchups in Iowa and Colorado, another Democratic contender, U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, runs as well as or better than Clinton against Rubio, Bush, and Walker. Vice President Biden does not do as well. And yet that was never mentioned, to the best of my knowledge. I mean, maybe it was mentioned and I had gone to the bathroom or something. This is not a blanket indictment of MSNBC, but, and Louise and I were going through news stories and whatnot, but, I tend to, when Bernie's name is mentioned, I tend to notice it. And I had no idea that Quinnipiac University said, hey, Bernie in Colorado and Iowa, Bernie's doing better than Hillary against Rubio and Walker and Bush. Now, the numbers are all within the margin of error, so I'm not sure that that's like screaming headline. But if you're going to talk about Hillary, then you should be talking about Bernie too, shouldn't you? Or is this how the establishment takes down people who are outsiders? And we're going to continue talking about Sandra Bland as well. For those of you who are on the phone about that topic, hang around, and I'm going to pick up your calls in just a minute. But I just wanted to get this off my chest. The thing that I have learned living in this town in Washington, D.C. for the last 5 years is that it's not about whether you're left or right. It's not about whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. Those things actually don't matter that much. It's whether you're an insider or an outsider. And people in the media, by and large in this town, are insiders. At least the big corporate media. They are absolutely insiders. And when they start behaving like outsiders, think Cenk Uygur and MSNBC, when they start behaving like outsiders and they start talking about the stories that make the insiders uncomfortable, things like lousy free trade deals, for example, then they get dismissed. See you later, buddy. And Senator Sanders has always kind of gone his own way. I mean, he's an outsider. He's not even a member of the Democratic Party. I mean, he might have joined now since he's running for president someplace somehow. And I know he ran in the Democratic primaries in his last two races in Vermont as a Democrat and won, and then said, okay, that's fine, but I'm going to run for office in the general election as an independent. So, Bernie is an outsider. And so, gee, what a surprise. The New York Times, the ultimate insider publication, would ignore him. William Boardman writes, the front page story is about, he's talking about the New York Times, is about such issues as workforce anxiety, shrinking middle class, stagnant wages, and the growing income gap at pre-depression levels. The candidate who's been raising these issues louder and longer than any others is Bernie Sanders, yet the New York Times story about these issues does not even mention Bernie Sanders, although it does mention two different Republicans and Hillary Clinton. This is the article titled Growth in the Gig Economy Fuels Workforce Anxieties back on July 13 that he's talking about. But it's just one of many, many examples. It's the insiders versus the outsiders.